Well, hello there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Zion Aesthetic, and today we are going to be playing around with the brand new Morphe x Jeffree Star brush collection. Jeffree Star just came out with this. I ordered it the day of, and it came in the mail to me yesterday. And I had to record a look with it right away because I'm so excited. These look and feel so nice. I can't not do it right away, so here we are, doing it right away. But I wanted to make this a little bit more fun for myself because why not? And I am going to try and do my entire face of makeup using only these brushes. I am a little bit scared, but I'm excited to try. He does have a bunch of different brushes in here that could be used for a bunch of different things. And I have my trusty Veramona color switch here, so I'm going to be cleaning off the brushes between each product, hopefully helping the progress or the process be a little bit more successful. I have never done my foundation with a brush ever, so that's going to be our first major challenge, but I'm very excited. Another thing that I want to just get out of the way before we get super into this review, tutorial, get ready with me challenge. There, that's it. Just push all of the things together. Is I am in a very different filming place than anywhere I've ever filmed before. I actually came to my school, my college, and I found a secret room up in the tops of one of the buildings, and I'm going to be filming up here, so if you hear any weird noises, I'm sorry. Okay, so before we get to anything, I am going to do a quick little run through of all of these brushes for you guys and tell you kind of what I'm thinking for like my process and how I'm going to do my whole face using just these brushes. First off, we have the JS1. This is his foundation brush. It feels really nice and soft. I'm pretty excited to use this even though I've never used a foundation brush before. That might be all that I'm using this for because honestly I feel like this one might be a little bit better for concealer. I know it's a contour brush, but it's just small enough that I might be able to get it up there. This is the JS3. Then we have the JS2, which I'm going to be using for powder, the JS7 for my eyebrows, and then eyeshadow, highlighter, blush and bronzer. We're going to kind of figure it out as we go. So we are going to see what we can do, try our best, and kind of give these a review as we're going along. I am going to give my honest opinion on all of these brushes and how they worked for me. I do really enjoy Jeffree Star as a person. I support him. I think that he is honestly iconic. He's incredible at makeup. He's one of the people who convinced me, or I guess inspired me, to start my own YouTube channel. That being said, I am not going to let my bias or my love for Jeffree Star influence the review portion of this video in any way. I will be brutally honest. If something doesn't work for me, I'm going to tell you guys that it doesn't work for me. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but just so y'all know, this is gonna be some real tea, sis. So, let's get started. First off, I am going to go into my brows, and I'm going to be using the JS7 for that, which is right here. I'm going to do that old, like, early 2000s makeup tutorial thing. This seems really nice. It's just a pretty standard angled eyebrow brush. It's very thin, very pinched, and then it has a spoolie on the other end so that you can, you know, give your eyebrows the whole fucking to-do. For my brows today, I am going to be using the Brow Gal by Tanya Crooks, this little brow powder kit. I tend to use this darkest shade, and we're just gonna kind of go to town and see how well this deposits the product and how precise a line we can get using just this brush. That is eyebrows done. I'm really liking them. The brush worked actually amazing. It deposited the product really well. I was also able to blend out the front of my brows with the spoolie quite well. I was able to get a precise point on either side. One actually is a little bit more precise than the other, so let's fix that real quick. There we go. Yeah, honestly, this is a Jeffree Star and a half out of 2 Jeffree Stars. Actually, this is a Jeffree Star and 7/8 out of 2 Jeffree Stars. There is really not much to complain about. I thoroughly enjoy this brush. Also, buying this one on its own outside of the bundle is really affordable. All right, so next I always go on to the eyelids and start working on my eyeshadow and on my lashes and getting my eyes all done. So first off, I'm going to put down an eyeshadow base onto the lid and try and cut out my brow a little bit. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be. For this, I'm going to be using the JS3 brush, his contour brush, because I feel like the size might work the best to buff out the concealer that I'm going to be using on my eyelid. Hopefully. Wish me luck. Alright, this actually seems to be working pretty well. I am struggling, obviously, to carve out the brow perfectly, but I was able to get a little bit of concealer and kind of stamp the correct shape in, and it actually buffed the concealer out on the eyelid in general really freaking well. So I am honestly into that. I'm going to take that same brush, the JS3, and take a little bit of setting powder and just set my eyelid before the concealer creases so that I have a nice, flat, smooth base to work on when we go in with the eyeshadows. So this side didn't go quite as smoothly as the first side, but it still did a pretty good job. I just ended up with a little bit of concealer in my brows, and I just had to touch that up a little bit. But in general, this worked great. I have a good base on, I have no creasing, my brows are cut enough. I mean, they might not be the best cut I've ever done, but for using a contour brush, I'm honestly pretty proud of it. So that's another pass so far. Next, we are going to break into my eyeshadows. I think I am going to break into the Blood Sugar palette. As some of you may know, I actually did a review on the Blood Sugar palette, which you can check out right here on this little link that's popping up. I really liked it. I am a diabetic, so I felt like this palette spoke to me very specifically, and I use this palette probably more than any other palette in my collection as like a day-to-day sort of thing. So I'm going to break in here and let's see, I think I'm gonna start by working Cake Mix, this shade right here, into my crease. And I'm going to be using the JS4 for that. This is actually its intended purpose. So we're gonna see how this does. It's a very large brush for an eyeshadow brush, and I'm a little bit intimidated, but I trust Mother Jeffree, so we'll see. Okay, it's definitely depositing the product quite well. It's not giving me an immediate blend as well as I'd hoped, but I think that this is one of those types of things where you just have to give it an extra second. Just blend a little bit more than maybe you're accustomed to. It's not bad, it's just not an immediate like buttery blend like you might expect with certain other eyeshadow slash brushes. There's also a single piece of brush hair. Once you just go back in a couple times and really blend it out, it kind of works like a dream. I'm really honestly excited about this. There are a couple hairs that are either coming out, I have pulled a couple hairs out, or are kind of frayed on this brush, but I think that after a few uses, you can kind of work those hairs out and not have them be a huge issue anymore. At least that is my hope. So we're gonna put that to the side and hop into the next brush, which is another eye brush for the outer V. And for this, I'm going to be using the JS5. This is pretty similar to the brush that I just used, the JS4, but it's much smaller. So this one is much better for detail work. And I think I'm going to hop into a little bit of Ouch here, the shade right next to Cake Mix, and then a little bit of Intravenous, this dark brown, and sort of start blending those into the outer corner of my eye, and then also bring it in on my eyelid a little bit. I am going to leave the center blank for some glitter. Actually, before we swap into Intravenous, this darkest brown shade right here, I am going to switch to the JS6 brush because this is a little bit smaller and more precise. One thing I want to say about the JS5 is working in conjunction with the JS4 is absolutely incredible. It really was a good choice of him to put these two brushes specifically in the set together because I think as a pair, they are even stronger than they are independently. So I am hoping that that will be a pattern, and the same can be said for the JS6. We'll see though. Going to go into this dark ass brown. Don't fail me now. I don't use this shade very much, Intravenous, and I always forget how fucking gorgeous it is. Alright, I actually had potentially the best treatment out of all of the brushes with this brush. That took me like a total of 2 seconds to get that brown right on the outer and inner corner, and then also just blended in to that crease a little bit. I am going to go back and just touch up. We want to give these brushes as fair a shot as they can possibly have. So far, that's no shade. I'm not saying that to be shade. I'm just trying my best here. I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun, okay? Stop judging me. I'm going to take that same packing brush that we just put the brown on with, and I'm going to go into Donor, which is actually right next to Intravenous, and pack that onto the lid. But first, I'm going to spray some setting spray onto my brush just so we can, you know, amp up the glitter power, hopefully. Glitter power. I don't know if I've ever had that easy of a time blending my glitter into my crease. I have pretty hooded eyes if I'm looking straight ahead, so a lot of times my glitter will get lost in the crease unless I go up really high, but sometimes it's hard to blend out the glitter that high because that's generally like where the top of your crease is close to, but this worked really well. Fuck yeah, Jeffree. I'm into that. That was really nice. So now, what now? What are we doing now? Let's put on some lashes real quick and head into the face brushes and the face products, which I'm really excited to try. So yeah, let me bust out some lashes real quick. By the way, y'all, do you like my nails? I got them done for both Valentine's Day and in celebration of these new pink, beautiful Jeffree Star brushes. They're this light little, very Jeffree Star shade of pink, and then I got a cute little heart on them. Oh, I love them so much. And they're just like, so cute for this video. I feel like I did something right. Hey, hey. Oh, yeah. Alright, I struggled just a little bit with my lashes there. I'm not quite sure why, but it took me 2 or 3 tries on both sides, but they are both on now. And I'm feeling glamorous. Next, we get to start getting into the exciting stuff. I am going to, first off, put a base down. I'm going to be using the Tatcha, the Silk Canvas, for my primer today, just because it's a good, trustworthy primer. Because I use my fingers with this primer, I am not going to be using any of his brushes for this step. I am going to take my foundation brush and just finish buffing that primer in, just to get a very smooth base. I think I put a little bit too much of the Silk Canvas on anyway, so this way I can kind of take some of that product off with the bristles as well as buff everything in. Okay, we are ready for the most intimidating step of this entire routine. I am going to now try and put my foundation on with the JS1 foundation brush. Like I've said, I've never done foundation with a brush before in my life. I started into makeup right as the beauty blender was sort of having its huge comeuppance. For foundation today, I am going to be using my favorite combination. This is the Fenty Beauty Foundation. I am in the shade 170, and then I'm going to top it off with the Dior Skin Air Flash. This is in the shade 200. So I'm going to combo these and start buffing it in. Wish me luck. I'm going to start off just by squirting, say, 4 pumps of Fenty onto the back of my hand and also on my nail, apparently. And then I'm just going to take this and dip it right in. Oh my god, this is so foreign for me. And we are just going to start spreading it around and seeing how smooth of a base we can get with this combination. Okay, so this seems to be working pretty well. It's definitely a little bit more difficult to control than a beauty blender. I am going to have to redo part of my brows again, just because I wasn't able to get right up to the edge without going over. Also, I am feeling a little bit more cakey than I do with a beauty blender, but I think that's just sort of a makeup brush thing. I don't think that that's necessarily a Jeffree Star makeup brush thing. I am going to go in with my air flash now and see if that makes a difference. Generally, I just spray this directly onto the beauty blender, but because we're using a brush today, I guess I'm just gonna spray it onto the brush. Okay, so with the air flash pretty much fully blended in, I am still looking a little bit more cakey than I would be if I was just using a beauty blender. Honestly, I would love to just take a beauty blender to this right now and finish it off, but because I am challenging myself, I will not do that. It really doesn't look too bad. I just feel like it could look a little bit better. I'm going to bust into concealer. I'm going to be using the NARS, what is this called again? The paint pot thing. The Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I'm in the shade Vanilla. And I'm going to be going back to the JS3 brush, the contour brush, and blending some of this underneath my eyelids. Whoa, eyelids, that's my eyeball. And blending some of this underneath my eyes. Okay, this feels real thick. I definitely struggled with doing concealer with this brush more than any other step so far in this process, other than maybe my lashes, but that has nothing to do with this review, so we're gonna ignore that. That was rough. Okay, let me set this real quick. I'm going to use the only Jeffree Star brush that I have not used yet. This is the JS2, and I'm going to take my Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder and quickly just set frickin' everything on my face and hope that it can save my cakiness. I'm throwing my mirror around. I'm frantic. Help! Okay, this powder brush is treating me really nicely. It's able to get in all of the different nooks and crannies in my face, but it's also large enough to be used on the entire face and not take frickin' forever. Honestly, that only took me a couple minutes, and I was easily able to get all the way up under my hairline, all of the crooks and crannies of my nose, my inner eye. I, so far, am absolutely loving this JS2 powder brush. It's treating me like a goddamn queen. Okay. I need to calm down. Get settled. I am going to take the powder brush, the same one that I just set my entire face with, and go into bronzer. Today I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer, which is one of my faves. And we're going to see if that can help this situation progress in any way that is positive. Please. Okay, yeah, this JS2 really blends powder into the skin just impeccably. It worked so well for setting my face. It works so well for bronzing my face. I'm sold. Okay, next. Actually, next I'm going to do my under eyes, I think. I just wanted to breathe a little bit of life back into my face before we went on to the rest of the eyes. So I'm going to hop into... Come on, bristle. There we go. I'm going to hop back into the JS6 and put some of the eyeshadows that I used on the top of my eye, on the bottom of my eye, and sort of blend them out and down. We'll see where that gets us. I'll check back in. Okay, I am feeling more and more confident with every step. I'm gonna go into blush next and see what that can do for us. I'm actually gonna go back into this powder brush and try to use that. Okay, that's something. I'm gonna call that, honestly, for the blush. There's only so much I can do before I'm just adding more and more blush and more of all the other products and wanting to die. So, we're gonna move on. Next step in our routine today is highlighter. For highlighter, I brought, where is it? Oh, right here. For highlighter today, I brought the Ofra Nikkie Tutorials Everglow highlighter. I'm going to mix a little bit of the gold color and the white color. I am going to try that on this brush, the one with bristles falling out of it. The JS4 brush, I'm going to make sure that I have absolutely no brown eyeshadow left on this brush at all, and then get to putting some highlighter on my cheeks. Let's see how this goes. Okay, similar to the eyes, this is putting down the product extremely pigmented.
Pigmented?
Wow, okay, let me go in with my finger. It might have been a little too heavy-handed there. Okay, yeah. With a little bit of finger work, that's come along a little bit better. This time I'm going to make sure I have less product on the brush and go in much more gently. Okay, I'm feeling really confident with that. I think that the highlighter worked really well with this brush. I think that this is actually a great highlighter brush. You could use this either for eyeshadow or highlighter. Okay, so we're looking pretty cute. Jeffree Star has treated us well. Going to fix my hair a little bit. Wow, I have so much fucking foundation in my hair. Jeffree, help me. Okay, now we are going to set our face and then get into lips. We're getting pretty close to the end here. And I'm pretty happy so far. I'll have to do a final look at the end, final little review, but I'm going to be using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist to set my face. Now for lips, I decided to continue with the Jeffree Star themed products. I'm going to be using the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Celebrity Skin Lip Pencil, and then also the Celebrity Skin Lip Ammunition. And then I think I might put a little bit of the Jouer Lip Topper in Skinny Dip on top just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. Because, come on, we're trying out Jeffree products. Like, if there's ever a time for pizzazz, now is that time. There we go. And now for a little surprise, I actually have the Milk Makeup Star Stamp. So what I'm going to do, just to celebrate Jeffree Star finally collaborating with somebody, I want to put a celebratory star stamp right on my face. There we go. Bitch, that is cute. Look at that. Oh. I'm into it. Should I do another one on the other side? No. No, I'm happy. I'm content. Alright, so now let's get into our final thoughts. I really enjoyed these. There were definitely a couple minor issues with a couple of the brushes. For instance, a lot of the eye brushes, in fact, all three of them, had some bristles that fell out during my process. But keep in mind, this is my first time using the brushes, so any of the loose bristles will tend to do that on the first time. I'm really not very upset about it, especially because these were very, very affordable. I did not pay very much for the entire bundle of 7 brushes, and I know that they're pretty affordable on their own as well. I do know that they sold out pretty quick. Jeffree posted an Instagram story where he was crying.
Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
And thanking all of us for supporting him. Honestly, I think that it is worth it to just buy the whole bundle. If I was to recommend any of these brushes for independent purchase, I think my favorite one was the JS2, this powder brush. This treated me really, really well. I also really loved the JS4, this big fluffy eyeshadow brush or highlighter brush. So, I think that these brushes are great. I really highly recommend them, honestly. Good job, Jeffree. You fucking killed it. This is a fucking fantastic first collaboration for you as an influencer and not as a brand to have ever possibly done. And honestly, good job, Morphe, as well. I used to have a really, really poor sort of image of Morphe. I thought that they were kind of advertiser heavy, they were a little bit scammy. Their products were not nearly as good as everyone who was promoting them said that they were, but with this, with the James Charles palette, even with the James Charles brush set, honestly, they've really been stepping their game up. They've proven me wrong. I really am in full support of them as a company now, and I think that working with Jeffree was a really good decision for both Jeffree and for Morphe. This is great. I stan these brushes. Congrats. Honestly, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you can do your entire face of makeup using just these 7 brushes. I literally used nothing else for my entire face, and I could go out right now. Like, there's nothing wrong with my face right now. I'm actually going to go out and get some dinner after this, and I don't think that there's anything that I would fix or adjust. These are fantastic. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a really great time playing around with these brushes and really challenging myself. I haven't done a lot of like challenges in the past. Generally when there's like a challenge that comes up, I just skip over it. I'm not really that kind of YouTuber, but I hadn't seen anyone do this challenge on YouTube yet, so I decided that I wanted to give it a try. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that you are having a wonderful day or night wherever you are in this great big world, and I hope to catch you on my next video. If you guys are interested in seeing me anywhere else, there will be a couple of videos right on the screen right now that you can click on. They're both great, I promise. I won't disappoint you. Yeah, okay. Bye!